It's officially March, the best time of year for college basketball. The conference tournaments are wrapping up, which means we're getting into the big stuff now. So with the first round of March Madness just days away, I think it's only right I make some predictions for what could be one of the most competitive and unpredictable tournaments in years. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you 4 bold predictions that I have for the upcoming 2023 March Madness Women's Tournament with reasoning behind them. For those who don't know and need a clarification, a bold prediction is an outlandish statement that sounds ridiculous, but there is a possibility it could come true, which makes it bold. So if some of these sound crazy, it's intentional, as they are meant to be a bit audacious. But at the same time, I will still try to keep these pretty realistic. Again though, don't take this video too seriously, these are just some fun predictions. But before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more women's basketball content like this. A like on the video would also go a really long way in helping the channel and the game of women's basketball grow on this platform, so all support is truly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's get right into these bold predictions. Number 4. The UConn Huskies continue their Final Four streak. Some of you may consider this to be a very bold prediction, whereas others may think this is pretty fair, and I kind of understand both sides. But considering the constant injury stress the Huskies have been under all season long, and the really poor stretch of play they've just had to fight out of before the Big East tournament, I think it's fair this projection makes it on this list. Things are starting to look up for the Huskies at the perfect time, as Azzi Fudd has officially returned from her second stint on the sidelines, and instantly we saw her impact in the Big East tournament, even though she played just limited minutes. The spacing has already been far better with her on the floor, and her shooting adds another layer to this offense. When she heats up, she's basically impossible to stop, and that uplifts all the players around her. The offense just looks so much more composed with her back on the floor, and I think that's why UConn have suddenly gone from barely winning by double digits against Big East teams to blowing them out by 20 plus points in the tournament. Azzi's defense has also been really solid since returning, so combine that with the ability to open up the floor for her teammates just by being out there, I think she's going to make such a big impact for UConn in March Madness. Another big reason why I think UConn can continue their Final Four streak is their offensive weapons are so diverse. Almost anyone can be the point of attack for them. Whether it's Azzi, like I mentioned, or Lou Lopez-Seneschal coming off screens, or Dorka Juhas playmaking from the high post. There are so many ways that UConn can get their buckets, and that poses a serious threat for a lot of teams defensively. The offense is unpredictable, especially within their half-court sets. So in the postseason, when the game tends to slow down a lot more and becomes more half-court oriented, this is going to be a huge advantage. I also want to highlight the front-court potential in particular within UConn's half-court offense, because that's something that UConn severely lacked last year, and it hurt them a lot in the championship game. But now, it's arguably their biggest strength. Aaliyah Edwards, for one, has broken out into a National Player of the Year caliber player, using her size and strength to bully smaller players on the interior and get to the rim whenever she pleases, also being a nightmare rebounder for the opposition. This growth has been so important for UConn, staying afloat without Paige and Azzi throughout this season, and will continue to give UConn an edge in the March Madness tournament that we haven't seen out of this group the last couple years. Edwards is very capable of matching up with other top frontcourt players in the country, like Cam Brink or Aaliyah Boston, and add into that the underrated play of Dorka Juhas. The frontcourt core of UConn can be a serious X factor for them in March. Overall, UConn are peaking at the right time with the Big East tournament, serving as a great confidence builder for a team that struggled throughout February. Can never count out the Huskies despite their February struggles though, and that's why I'm backing them in again this season for a 15th consecutive Final Four appearance. Number 3. Caitlin Clark leads Iowa to the national championship game. There aren't many players having better seasons than Caitlin Clark right now, if any at all. Her numbers of 27 points, 8 rebounds, and over 8 assists are beyond incredible and deserve all the recognition in the world, but what's really been most impressive with Clark and Iowa this season is how successful they've been over other ranked teams. This is why I have confidence they can finally make a deep postseason run, and honestly, see them staving off great teams like potentially Stanford, Indiana, Utah, and maybe even UConn, who they may come up against down the track in this tournament. Clark's starting to be utilized in more ways offensively, whether that's as a ball handler in transition, getting into pick and roll actions with Monica Czinano, or lately as a more active off-ball threat. And what this is ultimately leading to is a more effective and less predictable offense for Iowa. That was a big problem with them in prior tournaments and why they got knocked out early. The half-court offense around Clark was just extremely predictable and pretty easy to shut down once there was a clear game plan. With girls like Czinano and Warnock stepping up majorly though on the offensive end, Clark is now getting blitzed and doubled considerably less, and that extra dynamism in the offense has given Iowa the opportunities to be more threatening. Just take a look at the Big Ten Conference Tournament, which Iowa won yet again. Despite facing tough ranked teams, Clark was unstoppable and Iowa were again elite, deserving to win the title. The Hawkeyes had been blown out by Maryland earlier in the season, yet they were poised and confident against them in the Big Ten Tournament and earned a big-time win in the semi-final. Being able to respond to such a good team like Maryland in that way, especially a team that completely shut down your offense last time around, shows to me that Iowa is finally ready for a deep postseason run. The confidence is higher in this group than ever before, and Clark's decision making has matured greatly, resulting in her most efficient season, at least per true shooting percentage, and also her least turnover prone season to date. With all these factors, I doubt Iowa are upset and knocked out early again. I just can't see Clark letting that happen in the form she's in. Iowa is less of a one-player show nowadays, and yet Clark's output is just as good as ever. So with this kind of play, I think it's very possible that Clark shuts her doubters up and finally leads Iowa to the Final Four, and potentially even the national championship game. Number 2. LSU are knocked out early. To be completely honest, I've had some doubts about LSU this season, and I've never really thought they deserved a top 5 ranking. Their schedule has been insanely easy, facing just one ranked team all year long, which was South Carolina. And in that game, LSU's offense was completely thwarted. Their defense as well got stunned by the likes of Aaliyah Boston, Zaya Cook, and Camila Cardoso, and it resulted in a 24-point demolition of the Tigers. As of right now, LSU are ranked 9th in the country, which I'd say is fairer than being top 5. But I still believe the Tigers could be upset early and knocked out by the 2nd or 3rd round. Their collapse against Tennessee was brutal, and outside of Angel Reese, who do LSU have to go to in important situations down the stretch? Personally, I think that lack of depth and versatility on offense will hurt them in the postseason when the pace slows down. Angel Reese cannot do everything by herself. Being truly honest, this prediction mainly comes down to a gut feeling. I just haven't really rated LSU that highly this season, but who knows, maybe Kim Mulkey's great coaching can be enough to get them over the hump. But as of right now, I'm a bit concerned about LSU and if they've actually been battle tested enough to go deep into this tournament, or if their record has been inflated due to their weak competition and that they're actually not as dominant as they may appear. The SEC tournament certainly didn't give me any boost in confidence in LSU, that's for sure, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if they can prove me wrong. Number 1. Madison Siegrist has a 50-point game. The Villanova Wildcats are having one of their best seasons in years in women's college basketball, and leading that charge has been the 2023's greatest scorer in the game, Madison Siegrist. The 6'1" senior forward has been simply incredible this year, posting averages of nearly 29 points per game, which leads the entirety of Division I women's basketball, and she's also doing this on great shooting splits of 52% from the field, 38% from 3, and over 85% from the free throw line. Considering her volume, these numbers are incredible, and she's quite simply the only reason why Villanova are ranked as a top 10 team right now. She's also dominating the boards, averaging nearly 10 per game. She gives a little bit of everything for this Wildcats team. Back to the offense though. Siegrist's scoring has been on a level we've rarely seen in women's college basketball before. So just to put into perspective how ridiculous her season has been, here's a stat. Siegrist has scored at least 21 points in every single game this year. Every single game. That is unbelievable. And what's even more unbelievable is Siegrist's biggest scoring explosions this year have come in some of the biggest games. She scored 32 against the 14th ranked Iowa State, and just recently in the Big East tournament, carried the Wildcats to a clutch win over Creighton with 37 of the team's 63 points. That's why I think we could see a 50-point game from Siegrist this March. She lives for the big moments, and against a lesser team in one of the earlier rounds, her skills would make her a matchup nightmare that Villanova could take advantage of every possession. 50 points is not even out of reach for Madison either, because she literally dropped 50 on Seton Hall barely a month ago. Siegrist has been sensational in her final year at Nova, so it'd only be fitting to see her make some history to cap it all off, which is why I'm locking in this prediction today. So those are all my bold predictions I have for you today. What do you guys think of this? Do you agree with my bold predictions, or are they too outlandish for you? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, and be sure to drop some of your own bold predictions down there too. I'm interested in what you have to say. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.